I'm Robbie, and this is another edition of the WOW channel. Today, I really want to talk about something that's extremely important, but I haven't heard mentioned at any of the major news medias yet. Fox, CNN, MSNBC, they're all kind of just laying the eye the other way on this one. But this week, something very important and really for the first time ever in the history of the United States happened. Michigan, their state legislature, got together and demanded a constitutional convention. Now, you might wonder, okay, what does Michigan have to do with anything? Well, it's actually pretty important because most of the time, all 22 amendments of the Constitution have been ratified by the federal government, meaning Congress, and the president then signs off. And if need be, it goes to the Supreme Court to make sure that they're intact with the rest of the Constitution. But the Founding Fathers put a few provisions in to make sure our federal government couldn't get too out of control, like most would say it is today. The biggest concern that everyone has is the budget, how we're spending tons and tons of money, and we have no idea where it's going. Sure, we all understand these pie charts telling us that 27% is going to the military, 23% is going to Social Security, and then all the other programs make up small bits and pieces. But since a new bill was passed a few years ago that allowed the first ever look into the Federal Reserve, albeit a very overview glance, before the Federal Reserve has just had unbalanced power. They've been able to do whatever they want, whenever they want, to whoever they want. Well, we actually got a look into the Federal Reserve, and it actually turned out that $16 trillion were issued by 2008, between 2008 and 2012. $16 trillion. Now you might say $16 trillion, that's a lot of money, but don't we spend that much? No, that's the entire deficit. Now the deficit is way more than that, but $16 trillion. Now where did most of that money go? Well, it went outside the country. It went to things like the Bank of Canada and the Bank of Scotland, and basically just pumping up our dollar system to get more and more people relying on the dollar that's not backed by anything. Now, to put this in perspective, our balance is completely out of whack. One of the things that everyone's been arguing really since, Bill Clinton got out of office is how are we going to balance our budget? We've been running a huge deficit, not even counting the wars on top of it, but now it's just gotten out of control. We now pay over 16% of all of our tax money just to interest. That's just wasted money down the drain, and it's really unconstitutional. So what Michigan did is extremely important. Well, the Constitution is really about checks and balances. So a little known amendment or piece of the Constitution is in Article 5. And it says that new amendments can be built into the Constitution in two ways. Either Congress can pass an amendment with 2/3 majority, meaning the Senate has to have 2/3 and the House of Representatives has to have 2/3. Once that's done, that amendment is then sent over to the president, and he can either veto that amendment or sign it into law. There's a second way to get around that, and this way is really built in case Congress and the executive branch is corrupted, which it seems like it is today, where there's more and more reports coming out that we really live in an oligarchy, where the elite with the money and the power are able to buy the influence and get bills passed in their favor. Now, I don't want to get too political here. I just really want to stay on this constitutional convention. Well, the second way to pass an amendment is to get 2/3 of the state legislatures to call for a constitutional convention. At that point, Congress must call a constitutional convention, and the states send a representative each, and they get together to pass a new amendment or to ratify an existing amendment. Now, this is very important because slowly in the background, the states have been getting together and actually requesting this. And an amendment has never once been passed, and a constitutional convention by the states has never, ever happened in the history of the United States. Since 1776, the Article 5 second way of passing an amendment has never come together. But what Michigan did this week was they actually requested that constitutional convention. Not only that, they were the 34th state to request that constitutional convention, which now means 2/3 of the states of the United States of America have requested that Article 5 be enacted. This is huge. This means that the states must, under the Constitution, get together to ratify or pass a new amendment to the Constitution. This is a requirement by the federal government of the congressional and the executive branch, and they have no say on whether or not this constitutional convention can take place. Now, what's been happening since this has been passed by Michigan is the federal government has really tried to do their best to sweep it under the rug, to make sure that no one is aware of what's going on, and then to really kind of just put this into the judicial branch with this control also, just to kind of make sure that this constitutional convention doesn't take place. I thought it was extremely important to express this. Now, you can click into RobbieWow.com or look further into the World of Wonder WoW channel to see some more details about what is being called for this constitutional convention. I just wanted to put this in your brain to make sure that you are aware of it. Don't let the media and the federal powers at play control the stream of information, only if it's in their favor. This is something that can change the course of the entire country and possibly correct our entire course, especially economically, before it gets out of control. So be aware, be awake, and spread the knowledge on. You can find more at RobbieWow.com or the WoW channel on YouTube. Let me know your thoughts and comment below.